Apple just released the massive iOS 18.4 update. Let me walk you through everything that is new. Real quick, if you want to keep up to date with all the latest Apple news and reviews, hit that subscribe button. So this update weighed in at about 8 gigs for my iPhone 16 Pro. Depending on your model, that may vary. There are dozens of new features and changes here, so let's get right into it. For me, one of the headlining features is the new Recipe Manager. This is actually hidden inside of a new food section within Apple News. If you open the News app, hit follow, and then tap on Food, you'll be brought to the new food section. You'll also see the food stuff sprinkled throughout your regular newsfeed as well. It's full of articles and stories about food, cooking, and restaurants. But it also has a built-in dedicated recipe manager. You can search recipes for an ingredient, or you can filter it by meal, diet, speed, and more. Each recipe is broken down into things like the ingredients and the recipe itself. Ingredients can be tapped to mark them off, and when you cook it, anytime there's things like a timer, there's a really cool little modal that pops right up and makes it easy to set and follow along. I've said this before, but this interface would be perfect for some sort of Apple Smart Display. There have been a lot of rumors about that, so if you want to learn more, I've linked a video here where I talk about it. Like I said, there's a full recipe manager here, so you can save and share the ones you love. And yes, your saved recipes can be filtered too. I'm a little surprised this wasn't broken out into its own app, like passwords. But I guess it makes sense since the source is basically just a bunch of publications inside of Apple News. Apple Intelligence has a number of new features with this update. Priority notifications automatically determines which notifications are most important and puts them at the top of Notification Center. It's very handy and should improve with time. It's another of my favorite new features and is enabled in Settings, then Notifications. This can be set to on a per app basis, so maybe you want to ignore certain ones, make sure it's turned on for others. For iPhone 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max users, they can now use visual intelligence. This is the feature that allows you to use the camera to scan your surroundings and perform various actions. This can be tied to a shortcut, added to the lock screen, added to Control Center, or tied to the Action button. You can point it at a poster and add a date to your calendar, translate some text you see on a menu, solve a math equation, or just shop. In Image Playground, there is a new sketch style to choose from. I still don't use Image Playground much, but it is good to see Apple work to improve it. Let me know down below in the comments if you use Image Playground, and if so, what for? For those that remember, Sketch was actually first previewed at WWDC, so kind of nice that it actually got released. My sponsor, ESR, has you covered, quite literally. They have all new cases for the latest iPhone 16e that give you easy access to the Action button, support MagSafe, and exceed the military drop test standard by 7 times. The ESR Halo Lock Cyber Tough case is great, with a 3-layer design that has a PC backing, a flexible TPE softshell, and an inner poron lining. Most drops happen from hip level, or even at chest height. This has enough protection to withstand drops from literally 23 feet. The magnets are also ultra strong here, 1500 Gs, which makes it very secure when using a MagSafe desk or car charger. It's not going to fall off when you hit a bump. There's also a sleeker, clear-backed Model 2, which I personally like the look of more, but that's just me. The best part of their iPhone 16e gear is the upgraded screen protector. It includes the Ultra Fit Tray applicator and is so easy to install. It even automatically removes the dust from your screen to prevent any air bubbles and easily resist scratches, like from the keys in your pocket. If you're getting or have an iPhone 16e already and you want to check these out, there's links in the description. Apple Intelligence itself supports 8 new languages and 2 new English locales. Those include French, Germany, Spanish, Japanese, Italian, and more. The podcast widget has 2 new styles available for both your library and followed shows. In the podcast app, when you view your profile, There are two new quick links to podcast settings or to notification settings for the app. For smart home users, both Matter-enabled robotic vacuum cleaners and smoke detectors are supported in Apple Home. Right now, the EcoVax X8 Pro Omni is the only model that fully supports this feature for vacuums. I again did a whole dedicated video on how to use those that you can find linked here. The short version is, though, they can be controlled with Siri, including which rooms you want to clean. You can also change modes as well and include them in automations like vacuuming whenever you leave the house. Real quick too, I don't see the alert on mine since I am on the new home architecture, but it looks as if Apple will be pushing people to that if you haven't already upgraded to it. If it doesn't prompt you, don't worry about it, but you might want to be aware. Control Center has a ton of changes, big and small. There are 4 new controls for ambient music that can be added. They are sleep, chill, productivity, and well-being. When you play them, they have an automatic playlist that shows in the dynamic island, and if you tap them, they can jump into a hidden dedicated app where you can skip through the various tracks in those playlists. There's also Apple Intelligence section now for Control Center with options for Talk to Siri, Type to Siri, and Visual Intelligence. These controls can be added anywhere other controls can be added, like to the action button or the lock screen. The cellular control now accurately reflects the signal strength you currently have. Volume and brightness turn gray when too low or off, but will go to yellow and blue respectively when active. And the focus control has up and down arrows now on it. Similar to Control Center, Apple has added a bunch of new shortcuts. It was really hard for me to pin these all down. Some of these are actually being added and removed. There's ones for opening a particular messages thread or showing sports scores. They were likely being added for the new version of Siri, but anyone who uses the Shortcuts app in general will be able to use them. There are new emoji available, including face with bags under the eyes, fingerprint, splatter, a beat, a dead tree, harp, and a shovel. By the way, when you are looking at emoji, Genmoji is now more clearly labeled, hopefully making it easier to understand how to create your own. In Safari, when you open a new tab, it shows your recent searches in case you need to go back to them. This can also be disabled if you don't want it. Data can be imported and exported from Safari now, useful if you're changing browsers. In the App Store, there are new AI summaries of reviews so you can get a better idea of an app before you buy it or download it. Plus, app installs and updates can be paused and resumed without losing your progress. Really handy. Photos app continues to get better with a few changes I know you've all been asking for. First, albums can now be sorted by date modified. You also have the option to disable recently viewed and recently shared collections for privacy reasons. There are new filters for your library, including the ability to show just the photos that are not contained in an album. Finally, this is huge for me. Media types and utilities can also now be reordered, so I can move screenshots to the top and not have to swipe through 2 pages before I get to it. And finally, when you import photos to a PC or Mac, hidden photos will not be included if Use Face ID is enabled. With Apple Vision Pro, there's a new Vision Pro app. It automatically installs on your device if you own an Apple Vision Pro. It gives you some basic info on the device and a way to see new experiences and download content to the device directly from your iPhone. The best part, though, is it makes giving a demo way easier. When someone beside you puts on Vision Pro and your iPhone or iPad is nearby, a modal will appear asking if you want to enable guest mode. You can say yes and grant access to whichever apps you like. Before, you'd have to put on Vision Pro, then go all through that in Control Center, then take it off and hand it over. Way easier. And speaking of simplified setups, just like how you can use your iPhone to set up a secondary iOS device or an Apple TV, you can now do the same quick setup process with a new Mac. Just open your new Mac, bring your iPhone near, and it will guide you through the process, already logging you in and authenticating. Oh, and a new setup assistant makes it easier for creating a child device with the appropriate settings. When playing a video, the jump back and jump forward buttons now have really slick animations to them. In France, both Orange and Sosh support RCS, and here stateside, Mint Mobile, Google Fi, Tello, Ultra Mobile, and US Mobile are also able to turn on RCS. Those are basically all the T-Mobile MVNOs, if that wasn't apparent. And when viewing your savings account and wallet, you now must authenticate with Face ID or Touch ID. Apple's also changed some wording here. It used to say subscriptions and payments. Now it says pre-authorized payments. CarPlay. It'll now show 3 rows of icons on exceptionally large screens. There's better support for EV chargers too, including support for NACS locations. Lastly, for CarPlay, sports is a newly supported category. That means soon we will start to see sports apps show up. There are some now like MLB, but those are technically under the audio umbrella, not specifically sports. That's why they've been available sometime before this new category was designated. The privacy indicator that shows at the top of the screen has changed position, and there's a new black background behind it, making it easier to see in certain, different apps. And previews for App Store links, like in Safari, now show more information about an app before you fully tap into it. There's a new sub-menu for the camera app under camera control to tell it what app to open. And when updated themselves, the USB-C version of AirPods Max will now support lossless audio and wired audio connections, either purely over USB-C or with the USB-C to auxiliary adapter that Apple sells. It's a lot of changes. This is a pretty big update and comes alongside other updates for iPad, Mac, Vision Pro, Apple Watch, HomePod, Apple TV. Let me know down below in the comments what you think of this update, if you've got it already installed, and if you spot any other changes. Otherwise, stay tuned for more Apple news, and I'll see you all in the next video.